print output, your HTML output. When you translate and produce XML in your target languages, you can again assign that layer of automatic formatting to get the information that you're looking for. So I wanted to talk about publishing velocity, the speed of publishing. I couldn't resist the horse and buggy. It does get you from point A to point B, but it takes some time. Not a lot of velocity. It's sort of a plodding kind of pace. We move to print-based publishing, and we have something more like this. It's faster, and it gets you to places that you could not go with the original horse and buggy, like across an ocean. But it won't get you to this point. In fact, it's worth noting that we don't quite know yet how to get to this particular location. This is Spiral Galaxy M81, and is a photo that was taken by the Hubble Space Telescope. So, velocity. Velocity means distance. The more velocity you have, the farther you can go. And if we take a look at time required to publish, we see a pretty interesting trend here. Pre-Gutenberg, reproduction didn't scale. So when you finished one book after, in this case, I've estimated 4 years of work, which is actually kind of a short period of time for some of these documents. 4 years for copy 1, 4 years for copy 2, 4 years for copy 3, so 4 copies, 16 years. We get to Gutenberg, and what happens is that the first copy still takes a long time. It took about 2 years to typeset the first Gutenberg Bible. But after that, you have the ability to produce numerous copies fairly quickly, and they don't take a whole lot of time. With XML, we have a few months to set up formatting rules, and then we have automatic instantaneous formatting. Now, I have excluded from this the actual content creation or content authoring process because keep in mind that almost nearly all pre-Gutenberg publishing was religious, so it would be something like the Bible or a Psalter, a missal, where the content was known. So we are not including in these efforts the actual writing or creation of content. But basically, once you set up your formatting rules in XML, you will then have automated instantaneous formatting. So velocity has increased, obviously, greatly since pre-Gutenberg, but also since the time of mechanical publishing. XML is giving us some options that are very, very, very fast. Customization. So we've actually sort of gone back and forth on this one. When we had hand-copied books, we had complete customization of those documents, often with illuminations that included the actual buyer of the book, the person who paid for it. With Gutenberg, we move more towards standardization. So this is a picture from the Luttrell Psalter, which was a missal book. And if you take a look at it, the picture at the bottom is, in fact, a picture of Sir Geoffrey Luttrell and his wife and a servant standing, or actually possibly his daughter standing there sort of towards the back. But his wife is handing him up a cup or something. It's kind of hard to see. So if I were a prince in 1300, one of the things I could do is I could commission a psalter for my family, and I would in fact get pictures of myself in that document. So a pretty high degree of customization or personalization from the point of view of the design. The content was actually relatively standard. The only thing that might change would be that, for example, you might include certain hymns that were your favorites or exclude certain things that you didn't want. But there would not necessarily be customized content because, again, we're dealing with religious texts and customizing those is sort of frowned upon. We take another look at the Gutenberg Bible. We have some customized drop caps, but sort of minimal customization going on here and minimal design customization. Not a whole lot happening here, so let's just move along. Pre-Gutenberg, we had a very high degree of customization of design. So if you look at this curve that I've drawn here, we started with very high customization of design, and then we dropped basically to zero for about 400 years, 500 years, and are now slowly moving back up the design curve. For example, if you go and look at a website, it is pretty common to be able to change the appearance of a website to customize it to your specifications. Perhaps you want the type to be a little bigger or a little smaller, those types of things. So, pre-Gutenberg we had customization of design, and each book was a work of art and quite unique. Then with movable type and the printing press we had standardization. We could have very high production values, but we had mass-produced documents. There's little or no customization for the end user. We've had some increases in the last 20 years, things like mass personalization, custom direct mail, but not very good. The cost of customization online is far lower than the cost of customization in print, so it is possible we will see further increases here. But what we're talking about here is the ability to customize per user and not so much design quality. I'm not arguing that design quality took a nosedive. There are certainly attractive documents that were put up on a printing press. Now, if we take a look at customization of content, of the information that's being presented, then again, very little customization pre-movable type. Basically no customization post-movable type. When you look at newspapers, you might get some very limited kinds of things here. So for example, our local newspaper has a state edition and a couple of different county editions. So they might have 3 to 5 versions for their entire readership. The New York Times does something similar. They have a city edition and a national edition. But we're talking about millions and millions of readers and 3 or 4 versions. So mass printing makes it cost prohibitive to actually customize. Now what I expect to see with XML and of course with information being delivered online is that the customization of content is going to increase dramatically. We already have some of this if you argue that something like the subscriptions that you choose to put in your newsreader through RSS allow you to customize what information is presented to you every morning. If you're engaged in something like Twitter, then the stream that you see of tweets of other people discussing is different from the stream that I see because it is built based on the people that we have chosen to follow or subscribe to. So there's already some customization of content happening here, and I expect that customization to increase rapidly and in fact exponentially over the next 10 to 20 years and beyond. You'll notice that I very carefully put future on there and did not put any sort of date on the future. So this is sort of what I see happening with customization. Customization in both types, design and